a thorn in the side of many entrepreneurs.
Right. Hi, guys. How are you? I hope you're doing great and I hope you're doing fine. So, you know, with business and entrepreneurship, I discovered something good. My entrepreneurs, Majinji, we don't really understand what really is business, what really is entrepreneurship. And like I always say, with so many people, we are into business because we got motivated by someone who was doing it somewhere, right? And we thought that person was flourishing and doing great. And then we copied that person. But then we forgot that this person was using what we call the dark movement, the dark area, Nishona. Kuti in the dark movement, pamsoro, you can see with a dark, it's seated flexibly in a way that is comfortable. But underwater, that means in a business, you might not see this person is working hard underground, but then everything is fine. You see, so you can be motivated by that kind of a person, but ask the reality about entrepreneurship and how it's done. So you then discover kuti unanopinda business asingatozzivi kuti kune chinhu chinonzi masales, kune chinhu chinonzi maprofits. There is profit before sales, there is profit before tax, then profit after tax. Zvinhu zvinofana kudzidziswa, zvinhu zvinofana kunzwisisa nema entrepreneurs. So then even besides that, my expenses, you should also understand as an entrepreneur kuti your salaries, my wages, even your own personal salaries, my expenses, right? So you should be able to know when to pay yourself, what's the best time to pay yourself, and how much you should be able to pay yourself.
Oh, fantastic. I like that. Saka ndoimwe yakafana ne-iceberg yekuti unonga uchingoona pamusoro.
A tip padenga, but then you was already duma was not shit.
Yeah, it's quite a big one. All right, so it starts off from there. The dark movement, copying from others. Is that necessarily a bad thing?
It's not. It's not. I prefer when you're coping, right? Kana chikopera kuna ngomono. Anzi dofura kangwana kuno kopera. But mukukopera momo vunza. Benzi vunza rakanaka. Unotovunza kuti, dude, how are you doing this? Ndaona yambuka up and up and up. How did you manage to do that? Because time and study they're needed for success. You need to learn more. As an entrepreneur, make sure you're relearning and learning more each and every time. Because the world is changing, it's dynamic, it's changing each and every day. What my strategies I shared last time, I saw this year. So ukaona munhu uri kufunga this person anenge ari in a field and kuda kupinda, or they are doing great, but I think I have a passion in that. Approach them. Dude, I need to learn much about this kind of a business. How are you doing it? Volunteer. Later, the guy who said, John, I need to learn a few things from you. Do you mind if I just exchange my services? I'm into IT. Can you exchange my services whilst I'm learning under you? You see, that person volunteered. You see, so you can volunteer. Okay, I want to learn things from you. Allow me to learn under you, and then I want to open or do the same business, right? Then a person who is on a leadership mindset, you are not learning so that you compete with me, because the market is so big, guys. The market is so big. My clients is only one, right? You cannot monopolize the whole market. But you need other players in market competition. You know to nagizao more market, because you also get to learn and be innovative and be creative. So when you see there is something good that is happening, make sure you approach a few guys who will teach you on how to do that.
So how should an entrepreneur pay themselves, especially when the business is still growing?
Right. So when the business is still growing, you can pay yourself as an entrepreneur. So I remember my days of Tanga, I would say, I'm not going to pay myself any salary. Right? So you can pay yourself a salary, or you don't pay yourself a salary. You give yourself mari without uyende ugodzoka. That means your personal expenses, the ones are necessary, are serious, though that are carried by the company. Right? So I would tell myself, okay, John, Maria rent, Maria transport. Your large niche is on a cheat mama side hustle to side, then you pay yourself from those side hustles. So I'm going to be having my side hustles to side. Adichango ziyaguti kana ndikatengesa book rikatengwa mari yonde yangu. Right? Kana kama nikazoshora ndogonozokava ku company, but I will just have to make sure to mari my side hustles angu imamwe. Dinchanga ndinchi achanga chikava inini. Right? And then my major expense, I gotta say, my rental transport and everything else, inozobva kubusiness ichingonzi ndema-rentals and expenses haina extra kuti ndiende kunofara, right? So you can tell yourself that I'm doing that, right? Or you can put yourself on a payroll. Okay, mwedzi wega I'm getting this much of an amount. But then problem ilipo ndekuti vanhu hatizonzwisisi kuti pandiri panapa am I supposed to be paying myself this kind of an amount or this much? Why? Because my business is anosiyana. So you discover kune business rakaita say hotel and catering unowana mari during the festive season, then the rest hauchawani mari kusvika gore riperi. So how do you do that? You pay kana 2,000, right? That this month, next month maybe you are getting 500. You don't say kuti ndawana 2,000 this month ndakutozobhadhara 2,000. You don't do that. Unozudza kuti for in case of emergencies pakazonzi ndakuwana ma low sales and low incomes kumberi koko, let me just pay myself at least kana 500. Then the remaining 1.5 yasara each and cover for the next few months are kuya as not with some business. So in my method and I shandisa, it was kuti 50% of all my profits, right? Kuti my sales, my profits, 50% of my profits are not on business because the business still needs to grow, right? Invest more into the business before you start investing in yourself as the owner or the CEO. So I invested back into the business 50%. Then 30% inopinda kuma taxes nema emergencies in business.
30% of the 50% you are salary.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's 100%. Let's say 100%, right? It's a bracket of 100%. 50% ilikwenda for going back into the business. Recapitalization and everything else, making sure you reorder, you restock and everything else. Then 30% is for taxes and emergencies. Mu business mtono ma emergencies atorimo anoto usingafungidziri. Right? Then 20%, do you know Zonzi? For this 20%, I'm paying myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So my salary evamwe ari kubva pa 50% yatatusira business.
Exactly.
Running
expense and everything else. You see, but you need to make sure. You know that, right? There is a problem in entrepreneurs majinji also when business is growing, especially when paratara nyezi my expenses and everything else, which is the marine business. Business rakungatisa kurumidze kukura. Lately, a person was telling me, dude, chakakosha in business are sales, not how the business looks or chakakosha are sales. Those are not going come and they are shabby offices and all that, but we are cashing in Maria Kawanda. Right? So this topic, yesterday I was having a discussion with this other friend of mine. Dude, I'm making a lot. It's actually a lot. But then my motor no driver. Nema sales I keep a month as been run. Then he said, why are you driving this kind of a car? Why else you can afford to buy a G-Wagon? And then he said, I don't better marry. And we shared my price in my G-Wagon. It was like, I can afford this. But remember, we said
out of interest.
Exactly. Just because. Okay, so the cheapest was going for 130. Then Kunema 300. The latest going for 300K. But then you said, no. No, it don't my US Kudara. So you see, but that guy, Argo driver, Kombi, is 16K. Mukadzogan driver, Aqua. But he's building a big house, a double story.
So priority.
He said, I believe in building the business first before Ndatanga spend a marine because we are flash and all that. And for you to build, I can do the statement, for you to have a financial muscle, you should be having good financial discipline. Right? So those need to go business. So know when to pay yourself. So I can do that, dude. I only give myself Maria from point A to point B. I don't live a flashy life because I have my targets and once I will then start working on being flashy and all that. But I doubt. He actually said, don't enjoy Maria more than him.
But by extension, that's him paying himself.
Yeah. He's just choosing not to spend. But he said, on myself, he's not even over it. But when you check on his case sales, no one's like, okay, this guy is making it big time.
John's friend, I hope you're listening to this. You heard what he said about the way you dress. People are judging her. but I hear you. Just a little bit of levity there is always, John. But I understand the point that you're making, that you must put the business first.
Put the business first.
Go through growth and then you can start paying yourself.
Exactly.
You also mentioned something really interesting. You said you set aside 50% of profit, not sales. What's the difference?
Okay, so you check with the sales, it's money that is coming into the business. It's called revenue. Then profit, it's sales less expenses. That's profits. I'm not sure the accounting terms as they are. So, kana uchitengesa mabanana pamusika, let's say you're into furniture. Mari yekutengesa mibhedha, yese iri kupinda kuti watengesa mibhedha 500, you're getting maybe 65k. Mass sales. But ukazobvisa mari yekugadzira mibhedha, delivery, kuzobhadhara chichi, wabvisa zvese izvozvozvo, you'll be left with profit. Right? So vanhu vazhinji, entrepreneurs vazhinji discovered, they don't understand that thing. Kuti sales, vanofunga kuti mari, especially when you're new into business, ukaita your first big deals, you're getting mari yakawanda, unofunga kuti hise ndeyangu. But then you forget it, no, after ndapedza panapa, kune vanhu varifana kubhadharwa, kune ma-expense andichasangana nawo mubusiness munomu, they need to be catered for. And then the later yasara, the realized profit. Right? Kana tiri kumwe inonga chinonzi profit, it's profit before interest and tax. After also badama tax, it was okay, that's profit after interest and tax.
Because as you're saying, many people are then going through their sales as if it's profit.
No, it's not. It's not. No, don't live a life here. Kuti uri entrepreneur. You know, okay. Kuneka syndrome kari kwega kuti I'm a CEO. You know that the word CEO rakwadza vanhu vakawanda ma streets. Just because you are a CEO, then you choose kuti ndakufanira a flashy life and all that. Especially nowadays with social media, I discovered guys. Okay. No. I just wow. You see, I don't feel like I'm a CEO. Currently CEO, I should be driving this kind of a car. I should be doing that. I should be doing that. CEO is just but a title. Even when anengore msika, aripa street, that person is the CEO. We company yake. Just that you're usunga tie, une chairs are comfortable and all that, and they cause the office. But that's not it. You guys both are CEOs. And you discovered the person at Adam Street is making it bigger than you Udum office because you have managed to work on the title, not the business.
Wow. As we're getting into that, let's deep dive into the mistakes that entrepreneurs often make when it comes to paying themselves.
Mistake number one, you pay yourself too much than what you're getting. Right. So, there's this person who was saying there's a difference between working in the company and working on the company.
Come on now, what is the difference?
So you see, when you are a CEO, you are the founder of a business, the day-to-day runnings of the business, you're working in the company. But then there is a side owner business, work in the company. But now when you're working on the company, that's now a bird's eye view, right? Then you let other guys work in the company, and then you then you overview everything. You will discover maonero ako akatosiana as compared to Chandra Urim company. Now, at one point in time, someone asked me, John, why, at what age do you think of retiring? That I think at 30, Maraga Tendera, I should be retired. And then I get another person who comes in and takes over my roles and everything. So whilst I work on the company from afar. Because uri kunze unaona zunzaka one some mistakes some loopholes a business more than uri background. Because mostly you might be focused uri in the company, you're focused on getting more sales, but I also kutasa kunze kuti okay, kuti my sales as one day we need to work on our marketing, we need to work on our strategies and all that zasiana. So mistake ilipo ombe with many entrepreneurs is they pay themselves more than what is expected of themselves. Right? So unzukisa kuti business rakura kusvika papi. Takura kusvika papi. Ndakufanira ndichiwana mari iyi yandiri kuzvipa izvezvi or not, right? Because CEO is just but a title. Unogona kufila kuti andofunga ndadziya, then you start paying yourself huge amounts of money, but also not kumberi kuti chazofana nzara. Right? Number one. Number two is not paying yourself at all.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so kune vamwe vanoti wapedza kutera John obvota John akati pa radio you pay yourself mari shoma, then imwe wasla, then they choose kuti I'm not going to be paying myself at all. Right? So when you're not paying yourself at all from the business over what ndakutanga kuti maybe a side hustle right kuti izondikave, vamwe vanhu hatigoni kuita zvinhu two simultaneously. You then have subdivided attention. So when you have subdivided attention, it simply means kuti iwewe mari wakufocus on kuri kukupa mari yauri kurarama uku kwete ku the long term vision, because mind you a side hustle is a short term vision, right? But then the business rawina chero it's a long term vision. So you might fail to balance the two, then wakutanga kuenda ku short term. Mind you mari short term inogona ku entice zokuti unogona kuti the long term ndakusiyana nayo, right? So avoid that mistake. You don't pay yourself at all, because either way unogona ku side hustle unogona kutadza kupa mari, but then iwewe you might be in financial stresses and distresses because hauna mari yauri kuwana personally iwewe as the owner of the company, which is going to affect the productivity of the company. Paunofanira kunge uchifunga uri kufunga kuti mari ndoiwana kupi, you see, but at least just make sure you pay yourself something.
Something. Don't nail yourself on a cross.
Don't. And it's in business language, sacrifices, and then that's it.
You keep mentioning this aspect of doing side hustle and having something else on the side. You even highlighted how that can be a potential pitfall because you are then divided in terms of your attention. Kana ndiri kuita business, ndiri entrepreneur. Side hustle yave yechi ngatimbonyasa patarisa ipapa.
Okay, so zakusiyana now, because it now depends with the kind of a business that you're doing. Because panel business it's a big business, right? Not only a big business, but I need to be strong financially or a certain stage or level, right? Compared to the effort and trukuisa. But let me have something aside. Do you know that there are some other businesses that you can go for 2 years? I know if a company you can go for 2 years in Evashanti, and per 2 years is also sales.
And it's in a sales sector? Well, obviously, without divulging too much, is it a business that's expected to make sales?
Yes. It's not all right. Not my sales, like my daily sales.
Okay.
But that kind of a business is pamwezi munogona kuwana a client that is coming in ndokupeka na 300k, then mama attended the marine, then maybe after a month you get that you was better. Yeah, so but that company went for about 2 years. Vakomana vachimuka vachipfeka masuit every day, vachimaketa vachidi, nothing coming in, right? But panguwa how did they manage to survive? Pangene maside hustle, the owner decided hustle paside then got iriri. During good hustle kuti ndikave panda kuti ndisvike, but once I get an opportunity and I'm going big and I'm not going home.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to check the nature of your business, right? Because the nature of my business, rakamira say, rondivumidzera kuti ndinge a side hustle paside. But kune my business kutuma wig out, okay, I need to be making sure I have a side hustle paside. As I'm working on the bigger vision, but in the meantime, I need to survive.
As you're saying that, I think we might need to have a separate conversation around these side hustles. Hey?
Okay.
And exactly what goes into them. But just coming back, Nita, on the page, let's also talk about, you talked a lot about balancing for the entrepreneur between paying themselves, keeping money in the business for incidentals, recapitalizing, kutenga stock, kuita say. How can we strike this balance as entrepreneurs? And how do you structure that equation? It sounds like it's quite difficult.
I see difficult. Say good also. Right, guys. Entrepreneurship kuondo. And entrepreneurship is easy or something like that. Kuondo. So when you get into entrepreneurship, it's like a person who is going for stress is possible. It's very, very possible for a person who is an entrepreneur. Could commit a suicide. Because we don't actually but it's very, very possible because stresses are real. Depression is real when you are an entrepreneur, because it's not always as it is padenga. There are a lot of things you need to pass. It's like painting a building. Taka paint a building kunze yakanaga bademkati in mujuru and all that. So you need to be intentional about your operations and your goals and your vision. Good, okay, I am John, as John Kudereza, I am taking in now in this field. But in that field, I'm going to make sure I win. It's either I win or I win. I'm gonna go. I feel like what's going to happen. It's either I win or I win, and whatever that comes, I'm going to face it. Now, when you have made that decision, it's an intentional decision. You make a good. I'm going to win no matter what happens. Now, what you do okay? What are my targets? What are my targets? My products and or the services that I'm offering. What are my targets? You know, when sales, we have what we call our sales targets. Kune my daily sales targets, kune my weekly sales targets, kune my monthly, then my yearly sales targets. So what are your targets? Then you tell yourself, okay, I need to be working on myself. Couldn't get my targets? If it is a month, business or what, I need to make sure I get to these targets. Then can I speak about these targets? These are my expected profits and expenses. Can I speak about I now need to pay myself? I'm not going to pay myself any amount. So it's a matter of sacrifice. You are sacrificing, right? So neglect yourself, right? But always make sure you balance. Okay, at the end of the day, don't be that person who you're saying that I'm not paying myself. Pay yourself, but in paying yourself, don't overpay yourself, and don't underpay yourself. Pay yourself that which is enough to satisfy you for your daily needs.
I like that. I find that balance. Difficult takes a day. Impossible takes a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Jay-Z.
Yeah,
so
Giga.
So I just thought about that, and I think it's just about being intentional about everything. And striking that balance is indeed very interesting. So, what advice, John, would you give to someone who is in business, is an entrepreneur? They make money sometimes, but not every month. You gave us that example of Rana 2 years, erratic flow here and there. What advice for an entity like that? Entrepreneur, it's hit and miss. Some months are good, others are not so good.
All right. So advice and one day, guys, don't have a business that is one product. Have as many products as you can. Why? Kune business, kune product nonya kutengwa. Inofanonga ichipinza mari pazuwa for the day-to-day operations of the business, right? Then goes the big product. I'm not saying after 3 months, but we are good to go, right? Number one. Number two, make your expenses be fixed. Try by all means kuti my expenses are come business. Asange are varying. This month my expenses are next month adzika and all that. Have my fixed expenses for the rest of the year, right? Number two, when you know what your expenses are now spread and they are fixed, also make sure pakuzvibhadhara iwewe. Pay yourself, Maria unoziva kuti I'm paying myself, and next month I'll be able to pay myself again for the next months arikuya kushikandazowana the next big jackpot, right? Number, but always have money set aside for emergencies in business, right? Always money set aside for emergencies in business, and diversify your portfolio, your business portfolio. Always have many products as possible. Anoku cover. I don't go okay. Can as business. The product yakadai so inotengwa every day. Look at a cheap example. My telecoms companies, my lines, they sell airtime. But at the same time, no one takes a data, one takes some minutes. They discover airtime. But I think airtime I'm going to question is about I'm going to take data. Imaria Vetopinam company. I'm going to take my minutes. Imaria Topinam company. You see, so make sure your portfolio is diversified. Kutimari pinde anytime, any day.
Diversify your portfolio, very important indeed. Okay, we'll get to our messages in just a moment. John.
Okay.
But as we, just bring everything together, this very important conversation. Does paying yourself the right way affect how serious you take your business? Is there a relationship?
As paying yourself the right way. Yeah. What's the right way?
This is where we need to start. What is the right way? Is there a right way?
I believe there's never a right way of paying yourself. You don't know, okay, this is the right way. Because as long as you are an entrepreneur, truly speaking, the CEO syndrome, in most cases, my CEOs are intentional. I shouldn't be paying myself more. I should be paying myself. Right. So now depending, what business say. Because if your business is making millions, that means it's 1 million. Right. But if a business with $100, that means is $10. Right. So, but it's always wise to pay yourself. Pay yourself of the effort, of the time, and the opportunities, and the opportunity cost, and overhead. Always make sure you're paying yourself for the time injected into the business. Right? Because mind you, we have a mistake. My entrepreneurs, they work hard. They also enjoy a mariavo each bad hospital bills. Because when you're into entrepreneurship, like I said, utopina mama stress where also zoning has also one mari time. Most of it's because they can afford. It's because they this trainer is. Then was this trainer, instead of enjoying themselves, give yourself some time to rest. Don't take life too serious. We want to get money, but always give yourself some time to rest and enjoy your own money. Have some good time with family. Have some time to enjoy your money. You take a banana and apple for garapas over what right double. It's a chikura the cognitive casket. So I think a casket the pie.
That was the highest.
I ready over garapas what right double magents. Nakuzogera for the food. You're just paying yourself for the hard work and effort that you're putting into the business.
And I like that you also talked about self-care and just being, don't work yourself to the numb.
Exactly.
Be aware of those things.
Exactly. Sleep, guys. Entrepreneur sleep for 4 hours. Don't watch I don't watch TV. Guys, I have Netflix. Don't you want to okay, I have time to check on Squid Game, right? Okay, this is a nice movie. Let me watch it. What's happening? And I actually learned from the series. Big times because it is my as an entrepreneur I got to my notes from the series. So guys, give yourself some time to sit down, enjoy, go for a movie, go take good care of yourself. I like that.
I like that. Really good way to bring it home, John.
Exactly.
Messages from our listeners. 9995 says, Rimbi and John, thank you so much for this program. Very eye-opening. Tessa from Waterfalls says, hi, I'm inspired and assured. Thank you, Nimasho.
Wow. We thank God and thank you so much for listening.
Wonderful stuff. As always, John, take it home. I know we've said a lot, and people often nail themselves on a cross. Too much for him or herself and not enough for the business. As we close off, when it comes to paying yourself as an entrepreneur, what are the important things for our listeners to take home?
Right, guys. Not on such image. You are not in competition with anyone else. You are in competition with yourself. So it's you against you. So what I was last year, I am doing much better, or I'm working on myself to be better than what I was last year. It's me against me. So even when it comes to finances, it's you against you. You are the CEO. Don't let what people tell you, because you are a CEO, you should be doing this. Don't let that move you. Run your own race, right? Run your own race. Deal with your finances in a way it won't strain the business and it won't strain you. Because the moment you start working on spending on yourself before you work on the business, like we always say, don't rush to upgrade your lifestyle before you upgrade the business. Upgrade the business first and then upgrade your lifestyle later. Unochengeta business, then business also kuchengeta pamberi. So make sure you balance the two. Take good care of yourself. Balance the two. Pay yourself what's necessary depending on the business. Mind you, sales are not profits, right? Mono gonna go catching for every day, but that money, I see Maria for go. Know the difference between harvest money and seed money. So guys, you can follow me on Facebook. We're having what we call a Zim Strategy 90. It's something that I'm teaching entrepreneurs within 90 days. Your business must be somewhere. It's on strategies that, so I'll be sharing from Vamso 1. I'll be sharing day by day, strategy 1, strategy 2, 90 strategies that you can use to scale your business, to grow your business. So you can follow me on Facebook at John Kudereza. Not another account, it's at John Kudereza, or you can connect me on +263 786 412 837, +263 786 412 837, and then we can work with each other on having this Zim Strategy 90 hashtag.
Wow, amazing stuff, John. But about a dying minute question, and you can give me a very quick answer.
Okay.
How do you get rid of those relatives who always ask you for money?
Privacy is power, my guy.
Don't tell them you have money.
Don't.
How do they know you've got money, Humba?
Munwaje, act broke. Live as if you're broke. Yango une mari akaona say you can have my gatherings mamwe chingota andina. Thank you.
Always a good time and such an enlightening conversation as always, John.
Yeah.
You keep well, and we will do this again.
Surely. See you next week and be safe.
Thank you. Good night.